Like we found a guy who knew a guy.
Yes. Yes, we have a guy.
So you're saying that they're not just wildly expensive, silly, fun events that people are doing for some reason, that there's some kind of strategic, enduring strategic value to the exercise? Cue the smoke, right? Cue it. Hit the green button. Hit the green button. Hold the green button. More smoke. More smoke. Okay. All right, more smoke. So the scene is September.
Let him finish.
2025. It's 1 week before Envy Peru's performance. We get an email that explains her needs. We get her rider.
The rider, exactly.
The rider. Our first Plux rider.
What was in the rider?
A lot of things. I think the main thing that was the challenge, or the thing that took a lot of our time and effort, was just sourcing the sound equipment. And just
because it was like, it has to be 110 decibels. Which is very loud for our small venue. For the small venue, and I think they didn't realize how small the venue really was.
I think it was a rider for like a typical nightclub performance, which obviously this isn't a nightclub. So we had to get, I think, very creative with how we sourced everything and put everything together. But it worked out really well in the end, I would say. Obviously, there were drinks and snacks and all kinds of other things on the rider as well, but those were easy. So yeah, it was.
But yeah, we had to then reorganize the whole space. We had to just change everything around, and it was kind of fun, actually.
I remember that the rider said like unlimited beer and champagne, or maybe unlimited champagne, and then it said and unlimited ice cream.
Yes.
But we found out later that the rider had been translated from Dutch.
Yeah, as well.
So ice, or ice, it's just, it means, it was translated as ice cream, but it just meant...
It was just ice.
Ice cubes.
Yeah, ice cubes.
Which, oddly, is the harder thing to procure in Belgium. Unlimited ice cubes, right? Isn't it, though?
I think it said something like lots of, or abundance of ice cubes. Just, it was some very...
Of ice cream.
But they were very accommodating. Like we went piece by piece with everything on the rider to ensure, you know, what did we actually need? How could we maybe adapt for the space? So that thankfully worked out really well.
I think you're underselling the level of panic that...
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
There was panic, indeed, but...
Like, okay, well, where are we going to get all this stuff? Yeah. But, you know, we managed, and that was the important part. You know, the panic is momentarily, and then you just...
I think the panic is the initial reaction, and then it settles in, and then you're like, okay, we have a week to figure this out, so we figure it out, right? So that's the thing.
I'm enjoying this rewriting of our history together, but so what I remember, it was like, what is this? How? No. And then let's ask people. And then I think you called around to, which I heard like via other people, via third parties, I heard that you were actually in touch with them trying to get the equipment. And then they didn't have it. And eventually, like, we found a guy who knew a guy.
Yes. Yes, we have a guy. So that helped a lot as well.
You got a problem, Bumps got a guy.
You have to have a guy. That's important.
I mean, a lot of this job is just knowing the right people. So
how do you actually figure out who the right people? How do you get to know them? And how do they take your calls after they know you? Like, what makes them like you? Not just you, but anyone. How do we actually do that? Good question.
I mean, it's just networking, right? I mean, you just have to talk to people constantly and be able in touch with them, and you have to remember that they have that kind of stuff as well, or those kind of connections themselves. So it's like networks of networks of networks, oftentimes, and then you can, you go, okay, do you want to make some money? It's like, here you go.
Right. So we just overpay them and pray they do things. And
not overpay them.
Bill it back to the client?
They give us a quote, right? And then we bill it to the client.
Right.
But,
yeah. but only at the best possible price, right? And definitely with no margin. Anyway, the point of this episode is that it's very complicated to put on these 1 week policy pop-up experiences. The kind of learning curve on the client side of kind of getting into the mode of filling an entire week, which is sometimes 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. We started off thinking they would only want to do Tuesday through Thursday. That changed. Turns out people do want to do
They want to
stuff
use the whole week.
Yeah. They just want to get value for money. Good idea. Tiring. But then people started to see opportunities, and it's almost as if sometimes the clients have moved faster than us, some clients, faster than us in thinking about how to capitalize on that week. But how would you see the learning curve for people understanding the thing that they're building with us? Do they automatically know, or do they kind of have to be taken on a journey?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of context building as well to say, I found that a lot of clients, especially as we've done more of these week-long experiences, they always say, well, what did so-and-so do? Or how did so-and-so do this? And so I think they are recognizing that they can learn from the clients who came before them as well. But I think it's nice to have, now that we've done so many of them, kind of a basis to say, okay, this kind of format makes sense maybe for this kind of presentation, or maybe we, rethink how we want to have the background for video interviews, things like that. How many people can comfortably sit in this space? So it's a lot of contextualizing things and kind of educating them through that context so that they say, okay, I get it. That makes sense. Let's rethink how we can do that together. So it is still a co-creation, but it allows us to think about all of the things that we've learned in the process as well, I would say.
I mean, so much of it is just building up that trust, making sure that they know that you know what you're doing. And a lot of that starts even before the event starts. It's all in the pre-production phase where you talk them through things and you discuss with them and you make sure that, all right, this guy knows what he's doing, or this gal, that it all works out.
These people.
These people, yes.
People. First half of 2025, people hadn't really caught on yet. We did one big thing for 6 weeks, and then we did smaller things, and only a few clients were kind of like, okay, I totally am on board with this. But it took the great people of the EU bubble a good 5-6 months to be like, okay, I get it now. But then they were ready by September. But then I feel like people are wanting to now level up to the point where they're asking for giant xylophones. Cue the covering footage of a xylophone mic that Alexia found. Do you feel, or am I inventing this feeling that the clients are seeing the first thought stuff kind of want to go away? Whereas early on, like the first thing, not that it was a first thought or a bad thing, but like our first activation here was a little bit more traditional in terms of corporate event, boom, 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 in and out, one space. And then everyone else who comes after, they have to kind of tick some boxes of that, but then they're looking for some kind of innovation. They're like, so what is it? What's the magic that you? And you're like, oh, or we can never be all out of magic. So what's the magic? And then how do you keep making it?
Part of it is also just us learning what we can do with this space, right? Yeah. And also, as we kind of do these little upgrades, these little things that improve the space, there's more things that we can do with it, and more complex things that we can do with it.
Such as cue the smoke machine, right? Because we can also cue the smoke. So the innovation of 2026.
That's enough.
Flooding it.
There's a smoke machine.
The bustling world of the modern pump office, where every individual brings their own unique flair to the workplace. Let's take a peek into the lives of our colourful cast of characters. First, we have Habib, a bundle of energy who simply can't keep quiet. Whether it's sharing tales of his weekend escapades or breaking into song, Habib adds a touch of vibrancy to the office atmosphere. Then there's Mike, our dedicated video whiz, tirelessly working behind the scenes to ensure our projects come to life. With his keen eye for detail and unwavering commitment, Mike is the backbone of our creative endeavors. Anu, the stoic figure at the helm, leads with quiet authority, His calm demeanor and thoughtful approach inspire confidence in his team, guiding them towards success with gentle guidance. Next we have Maui, the visionary artist whose creative spark ignites the imagination of all around him. With his boundless imagination and knack for innovation, Maui brings the touch of magic to every project he touches. Ali, our American dynamo, is a force to be reckoned with. A shining example of professionalism and efficiency, Ali effortlessly juggles her duties with grace. There's Brett, the life of the party. With his infectious enthusiasm and boundless energy, Brett keeps the office morale high, turning even the most mundane tasks into moments of joy and laughter, when he is not posting on LinkedIn, of course. Whether it's setting up state-of-the-art technology or designing ergonomic workstations, Kuhn's expertise is the cornerstone of our office infrastructure, laying the foundation for success with every project he undertakes. And let's not forget Malte, the unseen hero behind the camera, whose skilled hands bring our visions to life with every frame captured. Yes, in this bustling hive of productivity, each member of our diverse team plays a vital role in shaping the future of our company. May their individual talents continue to shine bright in the world of tomorrow.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
To point to an actual innovation, we're in the space right now, which people might not know, which says a lot about the space. You all, the video team, Malte, Jonas, Mike will edit this later, got the brief, make us a dark set with some vibes, right? The only stuff that you had available outside of filming equipment, which is very expensive stuff, and it's not all bumps, so we thank you for donating your stuff for the day. But you kind of had to look around to the so-called supply closet of the space and figure out how to make that set, but somehow you did it. So number one, good job. Number two, how did you do it? And how do you go about basically reinventing the space, sometimes only with the materials that you have, because sometimes the client is not saying, here's a pile of money to figure something else out, then we have to repurpose. Maybe that's even more fun than getting a pile of money. Nah, you really like to buy stuff, so. But anyway, answer the question.
Yeah, but that's the equipment stuff. That's different. Well, sometimes you just do little tweaks on a set. You've kind of gone, okay, we haven't used this snake thing on a set before. Not really, anyways. So why not? You know, it's always been sitting in the background. Maybe some other chairs as well. You try things. You try different set decorations, and then you always go, okay, did we use that before? Have we used it before? And then if you have, you kind of go, okay, maybe we'll try something else. We'll use something else that we've used for a client for some other purpose. And you always try to reuse and redo and just maybe even some little tweaks here and there just to make it look that little bit different.
And Smoke is still with us.
It will stay for a bit.
He really laid on the button, so I think we're gonna have it for a while.
So Ali, like you're planning the week, which is now happens in a massive Excel sheet.
Yes, massive Excel sheet, yes.
So there's what happens inside. There's like the event portion, right? So, okay, let me put it this way. So like only a certain amount of people can actually come to this space for one given event. There's still lots of things being going on behind the scenes. This is really where
What is happening back
we've reached
there?
the point in the day where
He's
I feel like
in the smoke, so
I'm completely inside the smoke. I look like a wizard. I look like a wizard in case the.
Mike, please edit a wizard
Yeah.
hat onto Brett.
So let me regain my composure as a professional, the only professional in the room. As usual, martyr. And the question is, so only so many people can come in the room, and the week only lasts a week, even though it's very long.
Yes.
But now people are like, the week is too short. Yeah. So would you say, and this is the leading question, that the video and the photo that you capture is, this is not leading anymore, it's a genuine question. Is it as important as what happens during the week for the people in the room? Or is it more important? Or is it vastly less important and you shouldn't do it at all?
I would say it's probably more important because yes, it's good to physically be there and be part of the vibe and come to the space. However, because of people's locations, maybe they're very busy, etc., the photo and video aspect allows us to keep the event going for weeks and months to come. It really becomes its own content engine after the week is over. The week itself is awesome. We love the vibes. We love all of the programming that happens. We love that people come into the space and they're wowed by what they see. It's also fun when people come to different weeks and they say, oh my God, I was here last week and it's a completely different space.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
And it's really fun to hear that. But the content aspect, I would say, is just as important, if not more important, because it allows the client to have that visibility. And it's a nice way to showcase what happened, but also continue the conversations from a policy perspective after everything has been built into something else.
So you're saying that they're not just wildly expensive, silly, fun events that people are doing for some reason, that there's some kind of strategic, enduring strategic value to the exercise?
There is a lot of strategy behind it. I, along with the rest of the strategy team, we work really hard to think about how everything comes together, how the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, however you would word that. It's really a fun, creative exercise to see how we can put together, all of these different events, this programming with a space that really brings the client's vision to life, but also think of all of the ways to make that look great on camera. So it's one big comprehensive package for everyone who uses the space. A workday with Mia is usually very calming, actually. She's a very sleepy dog. She loves to be under my feet when I'm at my desk. So anytime I have meetings or maybe a little lunch break, I'll kind of, rub her belly and give her cuddles throughout the day. But overall, she loves to nap. It's very calming for me as well. A workday without Mia is usually quite busy and stressful. So I do miss that calming presence a bit when I don't have Mia around with me.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So both of you have, when you signed up to work at Bump, you did not sign up to work in the hospitality industry. However, you do have a background of some sort in the hospitality industry. As a final thought, please explain what kind of food or drink or vibes you were creating before you joined Bump. Well, we know this. You were just working at the pub, bro. You talk about it all the time. Whoa, what was this thing?
Yeah, okay, because so for me, Place Luxembourg does hold a kind of special place in a way, because I started my Brussels career on this place, working in a pub here.
I thought making documentary films, but no.
No.
Pouring beer.
Pouring beer for politicians. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of brought back a lot of memories, just opening up this place and having the hospitality side of things. And I haven't gotten too much involved. I leave that stuff to Martin, but I do have my thoughts on that.
Recall one instance where like the studio lead, Malte, was like, I will deal with the catering. And I was like, okay. So
that was only because Martin was off.
Well, you still could have just walked out yourself.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, I've done my job. The light looks great. I'm out. But you didn't. So that speaks to that. Did I invent that you did something? Did you serve anything at one point? Let's just say that TGI Fridays and you had many pieces of flair, because we can all envision it. Mike, give her pieces of flair.
I wish I had flair.
Cut to Jennifer Aniston.
If you want me to wear 37 pieces of flair like you're a pretty boy over there, Brian, why don't you just make the minimum 37 pieces of flair?
No, I mean, my first job in high school, I was a hostess at 2 different restaurants. So,
Okay.
I mean, I did.
Tell us about what they were called.
Oh my God, no. We're not getting into that.
Shrimp
first
boil?
one, well, one of them was a seafood restaurant. The other one was a
okay.
steakhouse. But for pretty much all of high school, I worked as a hostess. I learned a lot about the food and service industry through that. I think you definitely develop a thick skin working in that kind of environment.
I do want to express myself, okay? And I don't need 37 pieces of flair to do it. There's my flair, okay? And this is me expressing myself.
And I think especially if you're at like let's say a fancier restaurant where people are difficult, you really learn to problem solve, and you can handle getting yelled at sometimes, even though it's not your fault. So I think that that's something that I think everyone should always work in the service industry at some point in their lives. I think it's just like a good character building thing. But I think it's also made me very conscious, especially working within the venue, of making sure it's a good vibe, that people feel that they're, getting the coffee when they want to have their coffee, making sure the cocktail line isn't too long at a reception, that kind of stuff, so that it's a good feeling when you come into the space. We want people to feel comfortable and welcome and included, and we don't necessarily want it to feel like it's its own brand of chaos, I guess you could say. So
it's like the vibe matters, and the vibe is everyone's problem.
yes, absolutely. The vibe is definitely everyone's problem.
But also an opportunity.
Yes. I mean, it is though. I think, it's good to think about the things that make an experience great. And something that I really pride myself in, and I think the whole team does, is that when people come through the space, they always have really positive things to say. They love the coffee. We even have an MEP on camera saying how great the coffee is.
By the way, the coffee is excellent, so thank you for that.
In the middle of a panel. So I think there are these little pieces that really make the whole and make it a really special experience for anyone who comes through.
The heavy lifting of hospitality is done by one man. His name is Martin, also known as Martin. So when it comes to like really turning up the hospitality level, he's right there. You can't see him because there's no camera.
But he's there.
But then you're like, that guy's going to fix it, because I think we all have a certain level of hospitality, but we have our limits, and we're like, we don't know if we can do. I mean, it's actually a special skill that you have to have. And then suddenly we find ourselves not only in the event and venue business, but in the hospitality business, which is a different thing. You have people who do logistics at events, but would never deal with catering or ever have to serve something, or God forbid, they'd have to pick up a napkin on a table, right? And we all find ourselves having to do that. And luckily we have Martin kind of showing us, like setting the tone for how that should be. And then, I mean, you hear that all the time, like, not only was it this now really sounds like a sales pitch, that you have the strategy people and the AV people and the designers, but you have like a guy who knows how to talk to someone who just wants their coffee now, or just wants the table cleared, or they just stepped out and why is the lunch not there? Why have they cleared the lunch, right? And then suddenly, magically, the lunch comes back because someone anticipated that. Whereas we wouldn't really anticipate, like, lunch is over, lunch is over. And then we would want to be like, lunch is over. You would be like, sit down, lunch is over, right? But then Martin's like, actually, the lunch is right here. Don't mind you. You go be in your corner now. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I've definitely realized that when I had to give a briefing to the hosts, and I was like, actually, what the hell do I brief them on?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Wait. What do they actually have to do?
Yeah, there are limits to our knowledge and hospitality, but Martin, I think, goes well above and beyond that and makes it even more special. So thank you, Martin.
It's been a rude awakening in all of us discovering what we don't know how to do, and then what others can do well, and then working together mostly well. Sometimes we're like, wait, let's just say no all the time because it's fun to say no. But also, like, do they have a point? And then we try to work it out. And then we end up kind of innovating some little twist on it. And then the next person that comes around is like, oh, the way we do it is this way. Like, we just invented it 5 minutes ago. But that's the way we do it here at the Bump Policy Experience Space. So thank you for joining us for this episode, Ali, Malte. I think there'll be lower thirds for you. Your surnames are unimportant. That's it for today. And then I guess we should cue the smoke machine again, which should be coming in about 3 seconds. You should always end on smoke. Wizardry aside, I cast these spells. I feel like we should join hands like in a very like ritualistic way. So that is the show, and we're asking for applause at this time. All right.